You know, everybody went to jail, and I ended up getting into a fight with another kid and pulled out a blade, and I fuck him. Then I got arrested for that. I wasn't gonna get bail on this one.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bounce Back Podcast. I'm your host, B. Luke. I got a special guest with me today. Why don't you tell the people your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself?
I'm Chris. I go by Ski Studios on YouTube. Spent a lot of time out in the streets, man, and now I'm living a life of positivity and recovery.
What's your hometown?
Haverhill, Massachusetts.
So tell me a little bit about Haverhill, man.
Haverhill, it's not as big as Boston or nothing, but it's got city parts to it. It's right next to Lawrence. A lot of drugs around there. You know, there is violence. Sometimes there's shooting, sometimes murders. It's not a lot, but you know what I mean? It happens there, you know what I mean?
Okay. Talk a little bit about the geographical breakdown.
In Haverhill, you got Haverhill and then you got Bradford. Bradford's kind of like a nicer part, you know what I mean? There really ain't too many bad parts, and then you got like the main part of Haverhill, and then there's like an outskirt part, you know, it's actually, they got like $1 million houses and stuff out there with big driveways, heated gates and everything, you know what I mean?
What side of the town did you fall under?
I kind of lived kind of near the Haverhill High School. It's not nice, but it's like right on the verge of the nice to where, you know, it gets down to the city part, you know what I mean? And, you know, so obviously the city part's more interesting, so...
Talk a little bit about what's going on at home. What's the home dynamic looking like? You got siblings, both parents around?
My family, you know, younger age, man, like my family, it seemed like, you know, to me it seemed like a perfect thing. But, you know, at some point, you know, my parents got divorced, and it went from like being strict, you have to be home by this time, you got to go to school, to all of a sudden, I could do whatever I want. I still did school, you know what I mean? I still did great in school. I was pretty smart, so I didn't really have to worry. I'd do homework real quick in the morning. You know, I quickly went to partying and everything.
What about, you said you did good as far as grades. What about your behavior in school?
Did pretty good. A couple fights, but, you know, nothing serious, you know what I mean? A couple in-houses and stuff, but nothing, you know what I mean? I actually went to a technical high school, so half the time you do class, half the time you do work, you know what I mean, get paid.
I mean, a young child, being a child of divorce, that could be a lot for somebody. I mean, you seem to handle it well, at least early on. How do you think that was?
I'll be honest, it was kind of like depressing, you know. Family, like my mother battled depression like right afterwards, and that's pretty much why I could do whatever I wanted. It was a major life change. I actually believe that was a big cause of what's happened to me, you know what I mean? People that got fathers in the house and strict, or at least some guidance, to like no guidance at all. You know, I really didn't see my father a lot, you know what I mean? So it was a complete change, you know what I mean? Just complete change from everything I knew to just...
So did you have any older brothers or any male figures that you could look up to for guidance?
Actually, not really. I have a younger brother, but I'll be honest, I haven't talked to him in probably 25 years.
So after the divorce, what did the home look like? Your mother, yourself, your brother?
Yep. And
sisters, anything?
Nope. You know, I had somebody move in to obviously help my mother with money, you know what I mean, down in the basement. And, you know, it was kind of a very depressing scene at my house, so I pretty much wasn't home, you know what I mean? Whether it was at the beginning, I used to do dirt jumping on pedal bikes and stuff, to started going to the keg parties, and pretty quickly I was getting the kegs, you know what I mean, throwing the parties. It seemed so much more fun than obviously being home in a depressed place where it sucked, you know what I mean, straight up sucked.
What was your relationship with your father after that happened? Did you see him on weekends, once a month?
It was supposed to be weekends, and it was for a little bit, but I don't know, you know, I don't know what my father was going through, but I'll be honest, I remember waiting for my father to come, and he didn't come, you know, and then at some point you just give up, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? My father's back cool with me now, but, you know, he had a girlfriend I didn't like, and it wasn't a good time.
That's heartbreaking at that age.
It is, you know, I think I was like, I don't know, at 10, maybe 11. I'm not good with times, you know what I mean? I know it happened, but I don't remember.
When we're so young, we don't realize that our parents, they're just humans. We think they're superheroes.
Yeah, you think they're perfect.
Right. So we internalize that. Did you start to resent your father at that age?
by freshman year, you know, I was definitely partying, and you know, I started to not care about, you know, going anymore. You know what I mean? Obviously, I want to hang out with my friends, you know, and obviously I thought it was fun. You know what I mean? I thought it was too fun.
Define partying.
So I went from drinking to, I smoked weed, but like, dude, that was like an anxiety attack. But I went from drinking, pretty much the first year I started drinking because it just lowered my fear and like conscience. Like my conscience was gone. So I went from drinking to rave type things, you know, and to doing lines and white. Then, you know, I was pretty much like, I could get it because I hung out with kids that were in high school, and then I also hung out with the street kids. So I was the one with connections for everything.
So what was the plan after graduation? At this point, you getting in any trouble with the law at all, or you just partying kind of?
Yeah, I got in trouble, I think, like the first time I think it was the summer in between 8th grade and 9th grade. I wasn't tough back then, you know what I mean? Like if I was to get into a fight or something, honestly, I would be kind of scared, you know what I mean, to even get into the fight. So when I was with the kid, you know, we used to ride dirt bikes and stuff. It was, you know, we did a lot of stuff like that. And then one kid that I knew a kid that's parents, their family was going away. So well, he broke into the house and stole like a 3-wheeler, and I think he took a dirt bike too. You know, dude, I was scared back then, but I was near, you know what I mean? Like I just hung out across the street. You know, the cops obviously, I think they got him, and when they got him, he gave everybody else up. So, you know, this is actually a big thing. I went to the, you know, the police station. You know, I had nothing to know about cops. You know, my parents told me, believe the cops. And so I go in there, and they're like, oh, we got people that ID'd you, the neighbor ID'd you, this and that. And I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 years old. And so I thought they had me, and I admitted it, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, when I didn't even do it, actually, to be honest with you. I was across the street, so they hit me with being a lookout or something.
So what ends up coming from that? Just probation or something?
Yeah, probation. I got probation. They used to come see me in high school and stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody in high school, because in high school I was pretty good, you know what I mean? A couple fights I got into, but nothing big. So like the teachers were kind of like surprised that I had a PO coming to see me, you know what I mean?
In juvenile probation, you completed it?
Yep. Yeah, no drug testing, nothing. It was just straight up.
What was the plan after high school? What were you doing?
I went to college, a couple classes. I couldn't pass accounting. I kept messing up the credit and debit, but you know, and also I was working. I was doing construction. I went to school for construction, so I was doing framing, you know, roofing, siding, all that. You know what I mean?
Still partying? Too?
Yeah, I definitely partied.
Did the partying ever stop after high school?
No, I didn't. It, you know, obviously now I am, but everybody partied, you know? A lot of white and drinking. That was like my main things.
And college is that environment too, anyway. Did you...
Well, I was just at a community college, NECO.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have much.
So why didn't you, I mean, you go into a technical school, you didn't think about getting into a trade after?
Well, I did do the trade, but I don't know, you know, when they're like, oh, you know, everybody that's going to be successful goes to college. So I figured I'll go to college, you know what I mean? When in reality, dude, I wasn't even, I shouldn't even went to college, you know what I mean? I wasn't ready for that.
So you failed out eventually?
Yeah, I took the classes a couple times, didn't end up making it, you know what I mean? But obviously during this time, my friends changed from, you know, kids that ride dirt bikes and people that are all doing stuff with their life to people that are just straight up in the streets every day. You know what I mean? That seemed way more exciting to me. You know what I mean? That definitely seemed way more exciting than, oh, I'm going to go to work all day, you know, and also I was kind of pushing stuff too. So it's like, oh, I'm going to work all day and make this amount of money when I can still party, still chill, and do all this and sell stuff to people that are right there next to me, and I'm making more money than I make at work. You know what I mean? It just seems so much easier.
Seems logical at the time.
It seems way easier, dude. You know what I mean? And plus, like, you know, obviously my friend group changed, so it's like, all the people you see that got the money and everything else, that's what they're doing. You know, you're not thinking like, oh, I'm going to go work at this job and stay there for years and grow up to be a management or this or that. It just seems so far away that, you know, I could do this and make money like that. You know
So
what I
you
mean?
would just pretty much, you leave college, you're just in the streets hustling, you're not working at all?
I worked, but it wasn't like I always had a full-time job.
Okay.
Sometimes there were part-time jobs, you know.
Does the partying eventually get out of control?
Yeah, the kids I hung out with, everybody went to jail. I know I was like one of the last ones to even go to jail. And the first time I went to jail, to be honest, I wanted to go because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna know everybody. You know what I mean? And first I got a DUI, on probation for that. I was hanging out with a kid and you know, we're drinking, partying, and obviously we wanted to get more white. We didn't have money for it. And I gave the kid a ride. And he's like, oh, go drop my cousin off down the street. He's like, and come back and get me. And come right back and get me, right? And he didn't tell me nothing at all. He's like, just come back and get me. So I went up, came back, and he's running across the street. He's trying to run so fast he can't even stand up. And he hops in the car, and he's like, yo, I just tried to rob the store. I go, get out of here, bro. You didn't do that. He's like, yeah, I did. I go, where's the money? He's like, they didn't believe me. I'm like, you know what I mean? And I started to believe him. And I'm like, and you know, I'll admit it, bro, I was drinking and stuff too. So I said,
Was there a weapon involved?
he didn't have one, but he said he did. Well, no, he did. I don't know what he did on the first one. I think he said something and the lady's like, I'm going to call the police on you. So then when he got in the car, I'm like, well, might as well do another one.
Right.
Dumb idea, bro.
Yep, there goes
It's
that
the stupidest thing.
That logical thinking again.
Yeah, it just seems so easy, you know what I mean? And so I didn't park, you know, I went to another store, but I didn't park right at the store. You know, I parked, this is like back in like '05. Like, they might have had cameras back then, but even if they did, they weren't good. And I parked behind a place, you know, there was like the 99, and then there's a gas station next to it. So I parked behind the 99, and he ran over to the store, ran in, ran out, and he got money, bro. And dude, it was only like $300. And I took, like, you know, like, this is me back then, you know what I mean? So obviously I'm a different person now. But I told him before we went in, I said, make sure you tell him to lift the thing up because all the big bills are underneath. And he didn't do that. You know, we took off and obviously we partied all night. You know what I mean? Back then, 300 was worth more. You know what I mean? Now it's like nothing. You know what I mean? I think minimum wage back then was like.
Oh, and was there a weapon? Was it an armed robbery case?
He said he had one.
Okay.
So that's, you know, yeah, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't know that. I actually didn't even know that back then. If you say you have a weapon, the same exact thing as having a weapon. Right. The next day, you know, we were up all night, and I went to drop him off, and I seen a D-Tech, you know, in the old Crown Vics, and I'm like, I just drove right past the street. I go, bro, that's a D-Tech, man. They're gonna arrest you. And he just got out like a week before this. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, that's a D-Tech, man. You can't go home. He's like, nah, just drop me off. I'm like, drop you off, bro? You're going to be getting arrested right now. So I told him, you know, I watch a lot of things. And I have a lot of friends that, you know, we're in the streets. And I say, bro, when you go in there, just tell him you want a lawyer. You know what I mean? Because he's, you know what I mean? I knew he was going to be on camera. Plus, you know, when you get out, dude, they send stuff to the police from where you're from to be on the lookout for this dude. You know, he just got out of jail. And he'd been to jail before, you know what I mean? He was a little younger than me, but he'd been to jail. And you know, I was always under the impression that my friends won't never give me up. And, like, he was a pretty good friend to me. And, well, you know, I believe he gave me up. And it said, you know, the way that, I don't know, dude, the way the police report was written, it was like, they said, oh, an Impala with the license plate believed to be, which is like, it seems crazy, but, you know, I ended up, you know, the cops, one day my mother was coming home, the cops followed her and they all ran up on the lawn and everything. My mom was always like super cautious on how people look at her, you know. And
then they brought you into the police station.
Well, she told me, and I ended up just turning myself into court, you know. And when I was already on probation, so, you know, they automatically gave me, you know, I think it was like 30 days because it's only for a DUI. And then I got bailed out for like 5 Gs. You know what I mean? And
well, what was the charge? What were they telling you the charge was?
An armed robbery, an attempted armed robbery, and there was actually a couple other cases too. There was a threat to commit a felony. I was trying to get change for 100, and the kid said, oh, you know who my cousin is? And I'm like, oh, your cousin's no good. And then he's like, oh, go grab the burner to somebody on the porch. And he said that, and I just punched him. He was on a pedal bike too. It was crazy.
So you turned yourself in. You said they put a detainer on you before you got a bail. So where did they held you in Middleton?
Yeah, so
Was this your first time?
Yep, this is my
jail?
first time in there, you know, and I kind of actually wanted to go just because I thought all my friends are going to be there. And what's crazy is I seen people like in the lunchroom, you know, or whatever you eat there, I forgot what you call it, dude.
Chow hall?
Yeah, chow hall. And, but, you know, nobody on the block. There was one kid I knew that was Spanish, and I knew him, you know what I mean, from Haverhill. You know, I was hanging out with a Spanish kid, and, you know, where I'm from, you know, nobody's racist or nothing, you know, everybody chills with everybody.
Yeah.
And the kid ended up talking crap about another kid, and dude was a Crip from Lynn. You know, I didn't even hear Crips in Haverhill, you know, there was none, but it was all outlaws. But he ends up getting into, I go, bro, you're not gonna have to fight him, you're gonna have to fight some other kid. And he keeps on talking crap. This dude comes on the block, and now he's like the head dude for the Crips, and he ends up smacking him and calls him a bitch, dude, and he smacks him. And takes my radio, because I lent him my radio. I go, bro, you got to fight that kid. He's like, oh, I'll buy you another one. I go, bro, people know that was mine. I go, you got to do it, man. And it's a long story. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but happening.
Either that or like I'm fighting you. You know, I gave you the radio. So
I end up going over to the Crip dude, and, you know, a couple things happen. You get loud, the CO's here, so you got to back off. And then, you know, it ends up becoming a thing, and then the white dudes end up getting involved with it. So now it's the white dudes and the Crips dealing with it, and they're like, all right, Spanish dude's gonna have to give us $50 for the radio. You're getting the radio back. And then the Spanish dude's here about the nitties, and they're like, nah, he has to fight. So he has to fight anyway.
Yeah.
So he smacks me right in the front, right in the lunch line, dude, because he didn't want to fight nobody. You know what I mean? And I end up getting put in the hole for that. He did
you hit him
PC
back?
move.
I mean,
yeah, I did. That's why they brought me to the hole. They're like, yo, look at so like that right there, bro. They slammed me like right over, and my thumb was back like this, man.
So the COs messed you up worse than the dude. That
dude. I was fine. Like I didn't have no black eyes and nothing. But they're like, I go, what am I here for? They're like, oh, we told you to stop. You're being attacked. What are you supposed to do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what is that? How much whole time does that carry for you?
A month.
Middleton?
A month.
But a one-on-one fight.
I think I did like 3 weeks, and then I got bailed out.
You bailed out from the hole?
Yeah, because I had either 30 or 60 days from the DUI thing. You know what I mean? And my bail was like 5G, so I got out.
So what's your mentality at this point? Are you thinking about stopping drinking? Stopping the partying? Did you want to get right to it? Was that the first thing you were waiting for?
Dude, I got bailed out on New Year's. And I ended up, dude, that night I was partying with friends and everything. You know what I mean? And it wasn't enough time for my brain to even like contemplate anything. I'm just thinking I'm out and whatever. And I guess, you know, you stare into the skid, I guess. And I was selling drugs, and I was, you know, hanging out with a bunch of people that were, you know, everybody went to jail. And I ended up getting into a fight with another kid, and pulled out a blade, and I stuck him. Then I got arrested for that. I wasn't gonna get bail on this one. Man, it was a bad. It went like right through his arm. It's crazy. It looked like dumping out a cup of water.
Wow.
I know you always see on the news like it going with like the heart. This just literally looked like dumping out a cup of water. Like, dude, I'm not like this anymore. You know what I mean? But I was not living right, man.
Is this something that you did while you were drunk?
Yeah.
Drinking?
Drinking and doing
white. You think you probably wouldn't have done that in that situation?
The thing was, I got into an argument with him, and we got into a fight once. Everybody breaks it up. We got into a fight again. Everybody breaks up, and I just like, while I'm drinking, I'm like, yo, you come at me one more time, I'm sticking you.
Yeah.
And like without even thinking. But now that I said it, you know what I mean? Like if I say something, I'm gonna do it. And he came at me again, and without even thinking about it, I did it. And to be honest, man, like I'm lucky, man, because I wasn't aiming for his arm. And I've apologized to this kid, and he actually forgave me.
Were you guys like friends at the time, or just kind of some?
Yeah, we were friends, man. We were friends, which makes it even worse, man. And I feel bad about it. I really do, man. I feel bad about this because I never should have did that, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man, that's not right, bro. Bro, I had more witnesses on me on this because it was like right there in the middle of the day, like 12 o'clock in the summer. I had more witnesses than seen the last Super Bowl.
You can't go back in time. All you could do is move forward. So what happens? They hold you, no bail, back to Middleton?
Yeah, dangerous hearing. They had me on dangerous hearing, went back to Middleton.
90 days this time? How long was the
Well,
dangerousness
dude, my father's like, oh yeah, I talked to the lawyer, you're getting out. So I like gave everything away like an idiot, you know, and I went to court and my lawyer's like, he goes, there's no way that you're getting out. I go, yeah, but the dangerous hearing is 90 days. He goes, yeah, it's 90 days, but they can try to come up with another reason. He's like, you already gave them multiple reasons. He's like, you're not going to get out. I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, most I did, you know, was like 60 days or whatever, 30 days.
I can't. Are they talking about you getting indicted, Superior Court?
Yeah, they said they're going to see if it's going to get indicted or whatnot. But the thing is when I was in court, they were like, oh, you know, he stuck the kid, and if he didn't get to the hospital, he would have died. He's lucky the ambulance picked him up. I'm like, Your Honor, I brought him to the hospital, and everybody looked at me, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't really trying to kill the kid, you know what I mean? But, you know, he had a wife that he was married to, and he admitted that I did it to him. But I'm going to be honest, man, I don't feel I deserved it. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I feel like that I deserved it. And,
did you take a plea? What happened?
Yeah, I ended up pleading out. All right, the armed robbery and the larceny and all that type of stuff dude, I had a beast lawyer. His name was Scott Gleason. Anybody in my area knows who he is. And the dude's a beast, man. He ended up saying, you know, he came up with a story and it was really good. So I ended up pleading out to 9 months to do and 18 months suspended, 2 years probation, which is like sick, dude.
How much time did you already have in? Too. I mean,
at
9
this
months.
point,
you
it
got,
might have
4
been
or 5 months in, so you already have.
It was definitely over the 90 because I thought I was getting out in that dangerous thing.
So you're pretty almost halfway done.
I ended up doing that. Going to the farm.
Did you get a parole?
No, they didn't give me parole at all.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if you ever went for parole. The way I was, I was.
Parole,
yeah, they're very.
In Middlesex County, I had a parole, but.
Yeah, they come up with stuff that you don't even think there's police reports for. They're like, oh, a gunshot. I go, I don't have no gun. And they bring up some crap that had nothing I was there, but it had nothing to do with me. But you don't even think they took your name. And
so
they
at any
knew.
Point, are you getting into programs and thinking about addressing your recovery or addressing self-help?
I ended up going
like
I went to a few programs. I went to the Salvation Army. And
I'm talking about during that, when you got that, 9 months to serve?
Yep.
In Middleton, the farm.
Yep.
Were you doing any programs as far as recovery?
There was like it's not NA meetings. Well, they had AA, but there was like a SATCO is what it was called, and I did that. You know what I mean? And but I'll be honest, I was doing it because I had to do it. I didn't really want to do it. You know what I mean? I wasn't at the bottom. You know what I mean yet? And you know, I was young, dude. I don't know how old, maybe 23. You know, and
so what's your mindset coming out? Because now you got suspended time. It's not just a wrap.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, I had to go to OCC. I'd mess up in OCC, go to a program, get kicked out of the program, go back, then go back to court. You know, dude. You feel so trapped, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see everybody in OCC, like I end up being on probation forever,
so
dude.
What's going on there? Are these just relapses? Why are you having so much trouble? Is it just not showing
relapse?
Up?
I wasn't even. I don't even consider it a relapse because I wasn't really in recovery.
Okay, but
yeah,
so failing drug tests.
Yeah, I would be like, oh, you know, if I call today and my test, you know, on a Friday and your test isn't Saturday and there's no test Sunday, maybe I could drink.
Yeah.
And then when I would drink, my mindset changes so much that I'd be like, oh, I could do one line. You know, and then once you do one, you're like, oh, I already did one. I'm going to fail anyway, you know. And then the next morning you wake up like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Why can't I stop it? That's when I realized that I actually was a drug addict and I couldn't
because
quit.
of all this stuff hanging over your head and you still couldn't get it together?
Yeah, I still couldn't get it together, man. You know what I mean? That's
did
like
you start to feel like you just didn't have the willpower? How do you feel about yourself?
Yeah, it feels terrible. It's depressing. You feel embarrassed. You don't want, you know, your family's obviously going to know because you're constantly being in trouble. You know, you can't go to work or whatever because you have to go to court and you can't hide it. It's a very depressing feeling to want to get out of it, and you just, you know, I'll be honest, like I believe in God now, but back then I would be like, why did God give me this?
Right.
Why did God make me an addict? I didn't want to be like this, you know what I mean? You feel so trapped and you don't even know which way to go, you know? It was like the 2-year probation took, I don't know, maybe maybe 8 years, just because of it kept getting extended. You go to Bridgewater,
At no point did you want to just be like, man, let me just take my time and wrap this up?
people, when you're down in the bottom of the court, people are telling you, just take the time, probation's a setup, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna make this, And then when when it was going so bad, and I would get like, dude, I'd be so close to like finishing OCC, to no drug testing, and then I would mess up again, and it's like,
any of these times, are they detaining you until you get into a program, like 2 weeks, holding you at all? Or they kind of
they would make me go to a program, and I would.
But you wouldn't have to go back into Middleton at all?
I had to go to Middleton once too. In between that, you know what I mean? It's different. It's mashed together.
Yeah.
And and I was like, I don't want to do 18 months. You know what I mean? Because it just seemed so long to me back then. I was like, I wish I took it right off, but
right.
You know how it is, man. When you're in court, you say that you want to do that, but then you're like, oh, if you plea out right now, you can go home right now,
Right.
and it just. I actually graduated.
That instant gratification too.
You feel stuck, man. You just feel so stuck, and you don't know the way out.
So eventually, you did complete it, though. You didn't get violated. You completed your probation.
Well, I got violated, but I didn't get a final surrender. I'd get a final surrender, and then I'd get off of it. But I ended up graduating a program, and right near the time where I graduated the program. It was right near the end of probation. Because while I was in the programs, I could do great.
And
I go home.
When you're in a program, do they waive the fees and all that? Are you working? What's going on?
I would do community service on the weekends.
Okay,
yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I would do it in Lawrence. And then there was other times I was in the Salvation Army in Brockton, and I would do it out there too. You know what I mean? And
was that the last? Was that your last time in trouble with the law?
I got in trouble again. Down the line. But it was just, it's not just because I'm still messing with it from today, but I got another DUI.
Talk after that, but all right. So do you get back into partying again after that?
What ended up happening to me was I got into a fight with a kid, and I ended up getting stabbed a few times, and hit my intestines, my kidney and everything, like right there, and I got 2 more up there. And that ended up putting me into... because I never did opiates, and when that happened, I got like put in the hospital. I was in Beth Israel, and they sent me home with I was there for like a month, and then I got sent home with like 240 perks, and that just switched everything up.
At this point, do you know how addicting Percocets are?
I knew it, but that's why I didn't do them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But when this happened, it's like a switch in your brain just changes, because when you're working and everything, you can't be drinking, you can't be doing white. So with this, it seemed like a godsend. Honestly, it felt like I discovered fire. I'm like, bro, I can go to work, I don't get tired. If it's freezing cold and I'm doing roofing in the winter, I feel warm. It just, but as time went on, this was about 2011. Okay. So, and that sent me to, I feel like the depths of hell. You know what I mean? The depths of hell out there. And, I was working, obviously I was selling stuff, and I was, I did a lot of, I'm lucky for this, man, but I, stuck up a lot of dealers, and that, dude, I'm lucky it didn't come back to me, because I do a lot of recovery-based stuff, and I do NA meetings, and I go in Lawrence, and I'm always thinking is there somebody that's going to be in this meeting that maybe I did something to and I can't remember? Because I don't know how many I've done, but it's just, it brings you to a level where you'll do, I didn't steal from my family, but I did a lot of stuff to people that, people are like, oh, they'll be in recovery too, so you're gonna, they'll forgive you. I don't think they would forgive me for some of the things I did, man, because it seems like, I was saying this the other day, it seems like a movie, like I really didn't do that stuff. It seems like I didn't really do the stuff that I did. It seems fake, you know what I mean? It seems unbelievable,
Well, I think what ends up happening, that ends up crashing down on you, all this, the party, and then the spiral.
I ended up, I got a DUI. I ended up going to, I was on drug test and fighting it the whole time. So I had clean time, but I was still drinking, but I wasn't doing nothing else. And But in that time, like I had some, like, I was fighting the case for 4 years. My lawyer said, "There's no way you're going to jail the day of trial." He's like, "Bro, there's no way we're beating this." I mean, I was ripped.
So is this a thing too? Because I know what it's like to have open cases, have all this going on. It's like, it's hard to kind of do the right thing when you're almost like, you know what, this is gonna end bad. Might as well do what I can, and just it's almost because sometimes it could become even more self-sabotaging.
Yeah, well, I actually really tried this time, and one of my really good friends, man, and he's like, dude, this kid, he used to sell drugs with me. He ended up, he did a few stores, and he ended up going upstate. But he came back, and he's actually a minister now, and I go to church with him every week. He just opened his own church in Drake, and he helped me, man. He really helped me. And I was going to church with him and everything, and to see him be able to do it, he's married, has a house, everything. And it gave me the realization that I could do it too.
Nice.
And I tell him, man, God sent you into my life, man, because you saved me. And he always says all the glory to God. But like, I was on probation fighting the case, and I was on drug testing the whole time. So I had clean time. So when I messed up this last time, I was, it was like a week or two before I was already just completely depressed. And I was still working every day, but I was praying to God every day, man, please just get me off of this. Please get me off of this. And I no lie, man, I was crying like a little coward, dude. I was crying, and I just wanted God to come. And God came to me, man, and he's like, I seen my guy, and I got like stuff for the week. I know most people can't do that, but I did. And I got it for the week. It was a Friday, Father's Day of last year, and I partied all night. The next morning I woke up, and God came to me, and I called up a detox, went, and on the way there, I stopped in a Dunkin' Donuts, did some, flushed the rest of it, and now I got almost 10 months clean on the 17th of this month, and I have not struggled at all when it comes to the thought of a relapse, but I do struggle with stuff in regular life because I feel like I wasted so much time in my life.
How do you deal with that stuff now that you can't turn to drugs when your regular life struggles happens?
I pray. I do meetings. I go to meetings like 2-3 a week. I have my buddy, man, Ray, and he's my man, bro. And he's there for me. I have multiple people I can call from the meetings that I go to. I pray, and it just, it's weird because you feel like, oh, I'm whining, complaining about my problems. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, when you're in the streets, you ain't gonna want to be doing that. But I'll tell you this: at the end, man, I was hanging out with people. I'm the only white dude there, and everybody's been upstate, and I haven't. But yet I'm crying because I'm so miserable that I want off of this stuff, and I can't, and I couldn't do it, man. You know what I mean? And to realize that, like, if I mess up, it ain't gonna be but a week, and I'm already gonna be so upset at myself for messing up. You know what I mean? So I got that. But when it comes to, I messed my license up bad. I got 3 DWIs. So, how much to get to a job and all this, I'm kind of stuck at where I'm at right now, but I make all right money. You know what I mean? It's not terrible.
You can make it bad, you got a lie in it, right? And hopefully all that's temporary and you can get back on track and everything. What's been the biggest part of your recovery, the most important thing for you personally, if you could single it out?
100% my connection with God, man.
God. Amen.
Yeah, thank God, man. Thank God, because I know, like, a lot of people, do you say God or you say Jesus, and people nowadays, man, they right away they're like, like you're doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean? A lot of the beliefs I have, people, you see the news and this and that, and they're right against it. They try to make me feel like I'm wrong. But I'm gonna tell you, like, this really changed my life to a point that, and I know there's people out there that know me, man, and you know how bad I was. And if I can make it, I'm telling you right now, I know you can, because I had no hope. I told my family, give up on me. Give up on me because I ain't ever going to stop using. But I'll tell you, like, there'll be a part where people are always like, oh, man, the drugs don't work anymore. Well, I'll tell you, like, yeah, I still felt something when I did a blast or whatever, but I'm going to tell you this, I was not happy. I was not happy. It wasn't working in that way. I was just so miserable that like I felt like, you know, like you hear people say, I'll do whatever it takes to get clean. I'll do anything. I'll be like, yo, that dude is like stupid, bro. I can't believe. But now that's me. That's me now.
So you talked about, you know, you telling your family to give up on you. Where's that relationship at today with your family?
I have a good relationship with my family now. Actually, my father, I actually have a good relationship with him. My mom lives down in Florida, but I text her every morning. Like, because I didn't, you know, I wasn't the type of addict that stole from their family. So, like, it was never like they couldn't trust me in that way. But, you know, obviously.
You didn't burn bridges, but they were probably disappointed. I'm sure you felt you let them down.
Oh, they were definitely disappointed. My father's found me overdosed before. You know, I've overdosed so many times that, dude, there was one day I overdosed 3 times, and 2 of the times I was just found on the side of the road in Lawrence. So it's like, when you look at that, I just feel like, you know, and I have so many friends that didn't make it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not joking. Like, half my friends did not make it. And for me to make it, I just feel like there has to be something more. And when it comes to, you know, my relationship with God, man, it like, I just know that he saved me. Because if I heard all the times that I almost died, you know, from being stabbed, from being hit over the head with stuff, from the overdoses, and I survived it, man. I feel like I didn't make it all this way to give up.
Everything happens for a reason. So talk about how long you've been Ski Studios, the YouTube thing, and why.
Yes, I actually, you know, I did a joke for the first one. I took it down because it was very politically incorrect. You know what I mean? But that got a lot of views, and I always, you know, when I got clean with the last probation, you know, when I started going to work, I started listening to actually Rogan, and you know, he had a lot of like David Goggins and everything, telling people like, yo, you could do it, you know, embrace the suck and all this stuff, you know, and it like just gave me like, you know, these people are tough. They went through hell. You know, it might have been a different type of thing than I've been through, but I know this, I ain't weak. And I did a lot, like, dude, there was times where I am not the toughest person. I lost a lot of fights. But there was times where I beat people where, you know, I was scared. And if I can overcome that, why can't I overcome this? You know what I mean? This is just like that. This is a marathon. It ain't a sprint. So you have to stick with it every day. You know what I mean? You could have one weak moment, it could ruin everything. You might not survive. You know, even if it's white, because now they're mixing it and everything.
Okay. So, I was gonna say, so why go from watching Rogan to now you want to post?
Yeah, I got mixed up on that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I'll bring it back to. So why you're watching Rogan? You get into YouTube and all that. And what made you want to say that you want to do this? Was it a recovery thing, motivational speaking?
Even at the beginning,
I know you said it was that funny one at first, but then when did you decide to kind of switch it?
You know, and back then I wasn't as open because of the fact that I was still messing up. But when you know, I went to detox this last time, you know, I didn't want to admit that I messed up. But right as soon as I got out, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna tell the truth this time. And if I could, you know, I did a lot of negative things in my life, you know, way more than I've covered here. And with all that negativity I put out, I want to do something positive for other people. And you know, I just know that when I see other people out there, you know, even you, man, it's inspirational to see people that were down and making terrible decisions that now has switched your life around. You know what I mean? Like that is where, you know, you get the inspiration from to say, hey, you know what, this person did it, I could do that too. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you this type of life, you think like, oh, I can't drink anymore, I can't party anymore, I ain't ever gonna be happy again, I had to suffer so everybody else could be happy. I'm telling you this, you can have fun, and you're gonna have more fun like this. You know what I mean? You're gonna have way more fun and way more enjoyable, and your life is gonna go better. You're gonna be more successful. You know what I mean?
If you were to categorize your YouTube channel, what category would you put it in?
I put it in recovery type stuff. And
why is that important so much, recovery? Is it because of how much it's done for you?
Without anything they always say this, anything that you put in front of your recovery, you will lose. So, you know, it's the death. The death is the one thing that gets me, because everybody's gone. Everybody is gone now. And I don't want to lose nobody else. And I'm telling you, you don't know when the end is. So now's your chance to get right. You know what I mean? Now's your chance to connect with God or whatever it is that's going to make you be there, because you don't know when the end is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of those people that went out there, everybody that went out there, they didn't say, hey, you know what? Today's going to be my last day alive. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. What's your favorite thing about posting YouTube videos?
I feel like that's what it is. I feel like I'm inspiring other people. Sometimes
making
I
a
like
difference.
joking around,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And just show other people that you can have fun. But I also show the tough times, because I'm pretty honest on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I show the tough times. Sometimes I ain't having a great time. Sometimes shit's hard. But you know what? I push through it and I keep on going.
What's your favorite thing about recovery and being sober?
It just opens so many more doors, man, to what you could do. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what I was even to be honest, I didn't think I would survive it, bro. You know, like, what are you gonna do if you're out there selling drugs? What are you gonna do if you're out there on the tracks out in Lawrence, dude? You know what I mean? What are the people around you? Look at where you're living. When are you gonna say, like, it's enough, man? Because I'm telling you right now, nobody wants to be like that. You know what I mean? Everybody looks down on addicts and says, oh, look at them, they're scumbags, they steal from this. Dude, I guarantee you, they know that, and they are not happy with themselves. Because when you put something in you, you're trying to release that pain, cover up the pain, and you know, put a smile on your face. Even if it's a fake one, at least you're smiling. Because a lot of people, they didn't have perfect lives growing up. It's terrible out there, bro.
Absolutely.
It's terrible. Everybody got a story.
Why did you want to come up here and tell your story?
I like the fact, obviously, you're from Massachusetts, you're close, and I need to, like, I love to help other people. You know what I mean? That's one thing that, you know, anybody out there, like, you can hit me up if you're having trouble or anything, man, because the death, man, the death is crazy out there. You know what I mean? It's killing people every day. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah,
dude, you seen it out there, like, on a Mass Ave, dude? It's like, man, dude, it's like Amsterdam on a wire, bro.
No, I still get the, you know, I still see on Facebook the close friends I grew up with passing away from this or that, and sometimes it is, you know, it's drugs, you know, and it's sad. But I appreciate you coming up here today. If there was anything that you wanted to touch on, maybe we didn't get a chance to, or just some closing words for the audience.
I would just say, man, out there, if you're struggling, I'm gonna tell you, it's just better on this side. Take a chance, man, because what do you got to lose? What do you have to lose? Because I'm telling you right now, you know where you're at. You know what I mean? I'm speaking to the people that were like me. Where are you at? It doesn't really matter what happened to you to get there. You can't just strictly focus on that. You got to focus on where you are in your life and what you can do to change it. Chad Marks always says, he's like, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And it's true, man. Just at least believe in yourself. And even if you don't, act like you do. Because if you act like it, it will become you. You just got to keep on saying it and stop the negative self-talk.
Absolutely. One more time, why don't you tell the people where they can find you on social media, YouTube? Run that down for the camera, at least give them the YouTube.
Ski Studios in the house. Hit me up on YouTube. You know, I'm here to just try to help anybody out there, man.
And I appreciate you coming through. So that's Ski Studios. You know who I am. I'm B-Loop. This is the Bounce Back Podcast. Guys, listen, it is what it is. What's next is what you make it. On that note, we out of here.
Bounce back, you got a moment when they see you down this